Good morning, everyone. Today I have the pleasure to welcome you and introduce you to our speaker, Dr. Marcelą Szymanski, who is the representative of the Aid to the Church in Need International. She is based in Brussels and she is the editor of the report dedicated to religious persecutions in the world. Marcelą, first please tell us why it's important to care for freedom of religion and belief.
Yeah, well, it is actually one of the fundamental rights expressed in the UN Declaration of Universal Rights. It is a human individual right, so each and every one of us, because of our human dignity, individual human dignity, we have the right to have or not to have a religion, to change of religion, to live according to our religion individually and collectively, and also to be able to live publicly and in private the way that we believe that is the correct way. We also have the right to demonstrate our belief in practice, in teaching, and in worship. So this right, these different dimensions are very often ignored by the people. So if you don't know your rights, how are you going to defend them? So if you have no idea that all those dimensions make your right, it's not your religion is not a sentiment. It is a right that is inscribed in the constitution of your country. You see, so it is not only freedom of worship. It's not that you are free to go to the church, so stop talking. There are all these other aspects. So it is important for society as a whole to be able to express beliefs and to live according to them.
Thank you. And what about us Europeans based in democratic countries when our rights are guaranteed? What we can do for others? Because you mentioned that you prepare every 2 years this special report dedicated to religious freedom situation in other words. What can we find out from these reports?
Yes, the report, I mean, since I took it up in 2015, I try to make it consistent in such a way that it has always the same 4 blocks of information so that it can be compared one with the previous one. Before it didn't exist, so I am trying to make it more useful for the users or the people who are interested in religious freedom so that they can compare legal framework and practical application of religious freedom, the list of incidents that have been reported during the 2 years of the period, and then the prospects that we thought that was how things were going to evolve. So the evolution of the legal framework is very important because then you can see what is the trend and the threat hanging over religious freedom all over the world. So we have 196 countries. So you can compare all the countries in the world according to their legal framework, which is very, very important, as I told you. And in Europe, these changes in laws have the alarming tendency of reducing freedom of religion for the citizens of the West. They are little by little curtailing this freedom of religion. As I told you, it has all these different dimensions, and more laws are being passed that actually cut down. Living in public and in private, I don't know. You know, in group or collectively, better do it behind closed doors. I know that monument and that cross is too big, no? Like in Spain. Take it out. And these kind of things that are occurring little by little so that Christians in the West do not realize that their own freedom is becoming smaller and smaller. And this is not there are autocrats in the world. So the autocrats, they aim at controlling all aspects of power in their society. And one center of power that they hate is because they fear it and they are jealous of the mobilization capacity of the religious leaders. So they try either to become very close to them or to eliminate them. But the ideal is just to control them 100%. So in Europe, this control, this domination is what Pope Francis has called polite persecution by passing laws. I'm not not cutting your head, but soon you will only be able to say what I want you to say. And in the other countries, they are noticing this, like in India, and they have a combination of hybrid persecution, that is polite persecution, plus the bloody persecution, because they allow sentimental mobs to lynch people for blasphemy or for imagined offense to their God or something, and the authorities do nothing. So at the same time that they are passing laws that forbid, for example, funding the charities of the Sisters of Charities in India, at the same time they are doing nothing when an angry mob goes and throws bricks in the Catholic school. So this kind of combination is really difficult to tackle when you come and tell them, no, the Indians, please stop doing this is persecution. They say, oh, but you're doing the same in your country.
Yeah.
So this is why we have to really care to be coherent, congruous, and to try to help directly the faith-based organizations, as they are called, which include churches and all the charities run by the religious groups, because then you can be sure that your money is getting where it's needed.
According to you, do we Europeans do enough for these minorities which are persecuted in Africa and in other countries which are with top high level of persecution? Do you think we can do something more?
There are very concrete things that are at the hands of the European Union countries. One of them is the capacity to impose conditions to the trade exchanges. You see, and this is something that very few people know also. For example, with Pakistan, there is this agreement that is called the GSP Plus, General System of Preferences, in which all products from Pakistan do not pay any import taxes when they come to Europe, on the condition that Pakistan complies with 27 international agreements, 10 of which are human rights agreements. If Pakistan doesn't comply, then the European Union has the absolute capacity to just eliminate that advantage, which is 5 billion euros worth.
Yeah.
And this is something that is
effective.
Underutilized, that Pakistanis are willing to do anything to keep that advantage.
Yeah.
And then that is one way in which Europe can do. Now, that GSP Plus, that condition with Pakistan is being reviewed this year. In 2023, it has to be renovated or not. So we want the all countries, if possible, of the European Union say to Pakistan, no, we are not going to renew your trade conditions if you continue treating your religious minorities like you do.
Thank you very much.
Poland has to do that.
Yeah. On 22nd August each year, we celebrate the International Day commemorating victims based on religious violence and persecution. Do you think that it's enough to remember people which are persecuted, discriminated, and even killed for their faith only one day? Because I think I have this presumption that we just take care of this issue only for this one day and not enough even in Poland. What can we do more as common people, common Europeans, that we have many issues in common to take care of?
Yeah, we try to present several occasions to mark the martyrdom of these people. Now, the 22nd of August, fantastic initiative, but it's in August when nobody is back home yet. Now, probably there will be a little bit more attention this year because the school calendars are changing, but it's really difficult. So in other countries, for example, Aid to the Church in Need encourages that there is another celebration, another commemoration of the martyrs that we call Red Wednesday or Red Week, a day in which, that according to the suitable calendar of the church or of the government, it can be lit in red, the facades of important buildings in the capital city, sometimes in other places. And in that occasion, then we organize a conference and a fundraising event. Very often we organize it together with the Jewish community, because they are also mentioned in our report of persecution. So together with them, organize a concert, and there is some small fundraising if you want, because the concert is transmitted in national television. People donate 5 euros, whatever, and maybe collecting 3,000 to 5,000 euros, you can already buy 2 sewing machines for women who have been victims of the Islamist terrorists in Africa and help them into their new life. You see? So these kind of initiatives in which you are not trying to collect 1 million euros have a lot of value. They really encourage a lot the faithful who realize that they are persecuted but not forgotten.
Thank you very much for your important contribution, and I hope you have now convinced everyone to take care of religious freedom for everyone and everywhere in the world. Thank you very much for being with us here.
Yeah, thank you.